What's up, guys? So today is the 26th. Really late stream, but I wanted to get at least an hour in. So let's see. Alright, so we have our things to do. I wanted to tidy that up. I'll put that here. Finish going through things to do and continue tidying up. Much of what is in there is already done. It just needs to be removed. Do this when tired of doing other things. So our current issue is remove dirt check timestamp list. Remove all messages of dirt check timestamp list and dirt check timestamp order list and code. Let's actually see our list of issues and see if we can get rid of anything. Now we're gonna keep the filtered directory just so we know what's transferred. But I'll actually change this task to instead be renamed, and we'll put rename all instances. It's just actually, it's not a filter directory, it's more of a it's a transferred data, or what's called transferred adders. Okay, that's okay. Okay, yeah, we're not gonna do that. That just wastes time. We're just gonna take care of these tasks one by one. So remove dirt check timestamp list. Remove all vestiges of dirt check timestamp list and dirt check timestamp order list and code, and in all comments. Ensure comments are up to date when doing this. Wouldn't this actually not be removed and simply replaced with the namespace of change attribute list? So let's go through here and look at these. So we have quite sure we're no longer using this adder at all. Need to verify, and if so, remove. Okay, so let's see what we have right here. So right here we have this is on server, and this is while true, and length of current client change after this is greater than 0. Okay, that's our logging. Good div right there.
You know, if I looked at humanity, I probably wouldn't want to talk to them anymore. They don't know what they are, man. They come back another 1 year for this month.
Current client dirt check timestamp was clear. So this is after we send. So I want to say that we would this would be where we clear the changed attribute list, but we want to make sure we iterate through the changed attribute we want to make sure that we are iterating through the current client change attribute list, and we're getting rid of all the data that we sent, but we don't want to get rid of anything that we didn't send. So if something squeezes in there or whatever. But actually that wouldn't be the case, because yeah, that's actually good, because we don't directly append to the change attribute list until like this point right here. At this point, this is when we would do current client change attribute list append, or rather
If I was awake, I'd be honey garlic. I'd also be like, I'm awake!
So it would be either C1 or C2, right? So this would be dynamically assigned. So I'm just thinking here, so we could append, like, technically we could make this current client change attribute list be equal to its associated C1 or C2 change attribute list at, you know, the beginning of the upon instantiation of the client, as a whenever we assign the instance attributes. So then the current client's change attribute list would always reflect the modifications made to the C1 or C2 change attribute list, but that would mean that at this point we would have to make a copy of it before we sent it, and then send the copy, and then iterate through the copy and remove all the values from the that were sent, that were copied and sent. So let us do that. I think we're going to do that. So I'm going to put make current client changed attribute. Did I just do? No, man. No, dude. No, man. Okay. Client. Let's get this right. Change. Can't type right now at all. equal to C1, C2, changed attribute list at as instance adder. It will always be equal to associated C1, C2. Then we'll have to make copy of attribute list at this point, send the copy let's divide that up. So send the copy, and then make current client. A copy of current client. Change attribute list at this point. Send the copy. Then and then after that we will after send iterate through copy, removing all sent data from current client changed attribute list. Like, but do we actually have to make a copy? Couldn't? Well, yeah, I think we do. I was gonna say, couldn't we just use data, which is pickle dump's current client, but that would, that's been serialized. So like, yeah, I'm going to do that. the change attribute list copy equals current client that change attribute list, and then just straight up copy. And then we'll send the copy. And so let's put this down here. We're gonna put change this copy. Or wait, no, I'm tripping. No, that's wrong. Yeah, that is not right. Okay, so well, hold up. Well, okay, yeah. So if we make the current client change attribute list equal to C1 or C2, then that means whenever it's appended to C1 or C2 is appended to, that attribute list will be appended to. So we need to make a copy. Just trying to think of the how to do this without messing up the integrity of the data and making sure that we only remove the things that are sent. So I think then instead of a solution to this problem, the easiest solution would be to make it so that let's think about this. We make it so that instead of change attribute list being assigned upon instantiation to C1 or C2, we would instead have we would just assign the current client's change attribute list to C1 or C2 at this point. Basically, we would actually assign it to the copy of the C1 or C2. So we would basically take a snapshot of C1 or C2 at a particular point in time via that copy, assign at the same time assigning that snapshot to current client's change attribute list. Then we would send that current client object, which now has the change attribute list copy of C1 or C2. Then after we send it, we would iterate through the C1 or C2, removing, well, we'd actually iterate through the current client change attribute list, removing all data that was sent via the current client change attribute list. So then only the sent data would be removed ever. We wouldn't have to worry about removing like we wouldn't have to worry about using a lock or anything like that to make sure that whenever if C1 and the current client's attribute list were synonymous, we would have to figure out a way to make sure the only certain data got removed. And like then there's the question of, well, how do we know which data got sent? You know, because there's two threads. It's multi-threaded, so while we're like about to send it, data could get squeezed in at the last microsecond, and in between, you know, the point in which we made the copy and the time we sent it. So then in that case we might accidentally send the same data twice, and I don't want to deal with like any possibility of that. So I think that's what we're gonna do instead. This is gonna be a better system. So this is not gonna happen. We're not gonna do that. We're going to not gonna do that. Not gonna do that. We are gonna do that. But okay, so instead we're going to say that the current client change attribute list equals if current client.id is equal to 1, then current client attribute list is equal to C1 change attribute list dot copy, and then we'll do elif current client ID is equal to 2, current client change attribute list is equal to C2 change attribute list copy. So let's div that out and put our comment, and that's not the div I wanted. Alright, so then we're gonna say below section, and actually I already have a thing for this. I don't use it. There we go. 4, 26, 24, and then we're gonna do assigns current client changed attribute list equal to C1 or C2 changed attribute list copy. We are taking a snapshot of C1, C2, then we will send this current client object and subsequently iterate through the current client change attribute list removing only the sent data. This method ensures data integrity without having to utilize locks or other complicated logic. So yeah, so we create a copy of C1 or C2, then we are going to, well, this is dirt check. Dirt check actually, dirt check happens before this, so dirt check would be up here. section rather. Dynamically calls send check. Create a call send check. Okay, and then we need to send the current client. Okay, so this can go away, and this section. Logs the current client attribute. Okay. Serial sizes equals the current client and creates the header. Sends the header plus data. Okay, so here we're going to change this. We're going to say iterates through the current client or check timestamp this. Removing all sent data from the associated C1, C2 attribute list. So now we'll say Okay, so now we'll go down here and we'll do associated change attribute list dot remove entry. So yeah, that's going to iterate through the change attribute list, which is a copy, a snapshot, and we send that snapshot, and then we iterate through that snapshot, or through the, well, we iterate through the snapshot, removing each element in the snapshot from the associated changed attribute list. So see the current language, Nelson data from this. Okay. And then we can put right here. End of send section. Okay, yeah, so why is this? Where it is? Okay. I think we're gonna move this up top. Let's see. Okay. Let's look for con here, underscore. Let's look for con underscore.
Maybe I was so much meat that I didn't do it for a second.
Okay. So we could actually assign this at the beginning of threaded client, like right here. So current player P1 other client. So we can put this up here. We can say current client ID, current game. So we say client ID, client game, player, other client, game, player, and then we're gonna say other con equals well, the other connection doesn't exist at that point, huh? Okay, yeah, the other connection.
One of the most common bad habits in nail writing is easier fingertips being a little sore, red, or inflamed. I think a swelling isn't unusual.
So I think we could say other con equals self.other con, right?
I gotta be real, make me smile a little bit. Remember the good old days when you were getting fed up and you were paying $160 a month for cable and realizing that you only watched 4 or 5 channels that held 80% of the shows that you wanted to watch. Streaming came along and you were able to get everything for pennies on the dollar. I lived through that era. I lived through the cord-cutting era. In fact, during that era, I worked for Dish Network, the satellite indirectly. A lot of kids do it. We saw the book what I say.
Couldn't I just assign? Let's see.
This is actual footage of fake foods production process in the factory. Would you eat such meat? Would you eat these inflammable noodles? In China, the prevalence of fake products is a well-known fact, and amidst these surge of counterfeit goods, the issue of
Yeah, so
fake
we're just gonna
foods
do
stands out. Food
other
service
con,
poses a great
because if this is
but also
connection
a
1,
society.
this is gonna be
Welcome to some of the shocking fake food items found in China's food market.
self.connects num is equal to 1. Self.connection 1, self adder 1 is equal to con adder. But if this is not, self adder 1 0 is not equal to self 2. Equals con. If adder 0 is equal to self dot adder 1, then it's okay. So yeah, so this one is gonna be like the ID is equivalent to the connection. It always ends up being equivalent to the connection. So if client num, which is passed in as self current player, okay, yeah, so that's passed in as current player. If self.c1 online is equal to true, self.current player is equal to 2. Self c1 online is c2 online is equal to true, current player is equal to 1. And the connection though is going to be always associated with 1 or 2. So yeah, we can do this. I just wanted to verify that like 1 is always equal to 1 and 2 is always equal to 2, just in case we weren't like confusing these connections. I want to make sure I get that right. That's really important actually. So in this case, other connection is going to be self.con 1, and no, it's going to be con 2. And in this case, the other con is going to be self.con 1. So 1 1 1 1 2 2 2 2, and then else. Current client ID is 2. Current client self.client 2. Current game P2 game, and then current player P2, and then other client is going to be self.client 1. Other game is going to be P1 game. Other players are going to be P1, and then other con is going to be self.con 1.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm investigating it's a criminal investigation, okay? So before I ask you, I'm going to read you the right. Okay, and I'm going to show you a video. and you can tell me if you remember what's it up after that.
Okay.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have him present while you're being questioned. You cannot afford to hire a lawyer. One will be appointed to represent you for any questioning if you wish. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. Do you understand each of the rights I explained to you? Okay. Have you asked any law enforcement officer to speak to an attorney? No. Okay. Having these rights in mind, you wish to talk to us now. Yeah. Okay. So anything you don't want to answer, you don't have to.
Right, so now we say
I'm gonna show you a video real quick, and I'm just
do the
gonna
current
see if it's on
client dot change attributes, removing all some data from associated C1. Okay. Now we just have to do this dir check send call.
Okay, already called. Yeah, I thought it was. Okay, the green Toyota Tundra pickup truck that you walked up to. You don't remember what you did?
Walk by a truck, yeah.
Okay, what did you do to it?
That's crazy.
Why? Was it the bumper sticker? Because when they've got a ton of security footage slipping, so I see you walking behind it, you look over at it, and she's got a sticker that says, "Let's go Brandon" or something.
Maybe it's a feeling, didn't you?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Was that it? That's the only reason you did it? You don't know who owns the truck or anything?
No consumers on it.
Okay. So you went on the pass. I could see you go on the passenger side and left a big scrape on that side, and then I saw you do a circle in the parking lot, come back to it, and go to the.
Review this section and realize that the name should be swapped. Okay, actually, let's just stick to task here. I don't want to get sidetracked. We're removing dir check, so we're basically not removing dir check timestamp. We're just converting like code associated with it to instead reference change attribute list. Let me just make sure I got this right though. So this is in server. This is where we just left off. Okay, so for entry in current client change attribute list, associated change attribute list, remove entry. Then we say ready equals select set content. Okay, and I don't even remember what this selector stuff means. File descriptors ready 0 is the. See, I don't know. I put question marks all over because I don't remember. And then if ready, okay, 0. All right. Then notice that this section is an exact match part of network by receive function to save lines. We should turn this into a function. Perhaps call it modified section. Okay, we're not worried about that right now. We say review the section, realize that the name should be swapped. So we have receive data equals con receive enter amount. So we're receiving the data. We get the unpickle it or unserialize it. Now we have the ink data assigned to receive data unpickled. Then we say if length of ink data dir check timestamp list is greater than 0. Well, we know actually that it will be. So as a matter of fact, well, for the send side it might not be. But for the receive side, we know that we're only gonna receive if there is stuff in the changed attribute list. So here's what we're gonna do. We are going to comment at it appends to just receive client object to the receive object to the store. So this needs to change. This needs to be. We already know that the length of it is going to be greater than 0. Isn't that right? Yeah. If we receive something, we know that it's going to be greater than 0. since all the data is going to be in that one location. Let me put this on things to do. Let's put ensure all data in up. 426 ensure that all data, including the earliest sent in, is always transferred via the okay. So this we know is going to be greater than 0, so we're going to remove this completely. And I'm going to put thank you. So this is gonna have to, we're gonna change the indentation for this. I think all of this is gonna be, wait, nope. Okay, so this line is gonna be removed because it's never gonna be 0. For receiving, it's never gonna be 0. Now this is going to be so this is going to just log. I see. so this right here, creates the ink association name. Yeah, this is all old. We're not using this anymore. So that's gone. Oops. Okay, here we go. Length of receive object dig. I don't think we need that. Yeah. Yeah, we don't need that. Let me get rid of this. Now this is going to be removed as well. Put this in old storage removal. Okay. So now, I think right here we would say for tube and ink data at change attribute list, right? For tube and ink data.change attribute list, and because that is we're gonna append all that data to the appends each dirt check timestamp each element from the receive clients changed attribute list to the different needs to be updated. Okay. I think I'm gonna go ahead and quit. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and quit for today. I'll put stopped here, and date 4/26/24, stopped here. Alright, and that's 201. 201. Do that. Go to devlog. Alright, so 5 o'clock, an hour, 4, so 4:55, and then, oops, this would be 4:56 to 5 o'clock. Alright, begin conversion. Refactoring of code of all instances of your check timestamp list. Really all of this work was done in alright, so now we're going to stage commit and push our changes. So we're going to copy that. We're going to open up our terminal and we're going to git branch, make sure we're on the right branch, which we are, and we are in the correct root directory of the project, so we can do git add everything. We can ignore that LF warning, it's inconsequential. We already copied our devlog as our commit message, so we're going to do git commit -m, and we're going to also accidentally hit Control F in the process. So now we're going to remove all these apostrophes, and so we have 4 files changed, 70 insertions, 65 deletions. Okay, and now we're going to do git push Canasta secondary to push to the associated remote repository, and it looks like everything succeeded there. So now we can go ahead and call it quits. We're going to close this out. Actually, I'm sorry, let's go here. Say quick. Put that in things to do. That's where we stop, so we know that's when we look at things to do, it will let us know. So now we're going to go over here and open up the project, or programming project, Canasta. We're going to copy this one. We're going to go to the backup. We're going to delete this backup. We're going to paste the updated version. We're going to enter into the backup and look at the devlog to make sure we did this correctly. And there it is, 4/26/24, which is today. Now we're going to back out to the folder, change the date to reflect today's date. And now